Good morning, guys. Si here. Welcome to today's Gunner Talk. It's a bit of a depressing one today to start off with. It's not. It's sort of Arsenal related. Thierry leaving Sky. Those of you that know me know I do quite a lot with work with them in the studios and on the gantry. So when I got the text yesterday morning about him leaving, it was like a death in the family. To be honest, for me personally, I was in bits. It's been the greatest part of my life, sitting with this guy, talking football with him, talking Arsenal with him for the last few years. It's been such a privilege and a pleasure, and I don't think I can ever get that across in words how big a thing it's been for someone who has grown up an Arsenal fan all my life, and in my late teens watching him play, and what a player he was. Best player I've ever seen in the Premier League, best player I've ever seen at Arsenal. One of the most exciting players I've ever seen in my entire life, and I've seen some exciting players in the flesh and on TV, and this guy's right up there for me, and in my eyes a complete god, and that'll never change. What a lot of you don't know about the guy is he's such a wonderful man. He's so charismatic. He has an aura about him that you just want to love him. Even if you're not an Arsenal fan, you'd struggle to have a chat with him and come away thinking he was a dick. He's just an incredible man. Like I say, I work with a lot of ex-footballers, footballers past and present, and sorry, I was just getting a phone call there. I've worked with a lot of footballers past and present, and a lot of them don't take the time to be polite to people. Thierry does. He makes a point of shaking everybody's hands and thanking them for the work that they do behind the scenes. Even if you've had nothing to do with him all day, he will still come over and shake your hand and say thanks for everything today. And they don't all do that, and letting you know that. So he's a wonderful man. Dealing with fans, he's brilliant with fans from what I've seen working with him. Last year at the Emirates, there was 2 girls chased us down 5 flights of stairs when we were going from the gantry to the studio at the Emirates. And we just had no time because we were live on air. You've only got 6 minutes or whatever to get from one to the other. These girls chased us down, like, Thierry. He just couldn't stop, and it made me feel sad when I got back to the studio, because I thought these girls will go away going, what an ignorant dick he is. It's not. It's just pick your moments, guys. I see it all the time. People with the kids screaming at the guys presenting. They're live on air. What do you want them to do when they're live on air? They can't do anything. Wait till they put the mic down, come off camera, and then shout at them and ask them. Because I'll tell you what, they'll all take the time to stop, take a picture with you, sign your stuff, give your kids a cuddle, whatever it is you want. Most of them will do it if it's within reason. So I don't like any bad mouthing of him, and I'll never accept any bad mouthing of him either. Somebody asked me about my own personal experiences with him. When I was first told, when I was doing a bit for Sky, that I would get to work. Well, I wasn't told that I'd get to work with Thierry. I just knew that at some point, obviously through his links with Sky and my job, I'd get to deal with him. And I was never told when that'd be. One day I was at a game, and I was told, right, Star, you need to go and meet the lads when they turn up in the chauffeur-driven cars, to take them where they need to go. I was like, yeah, brilliant. I was told who it was. I think it was Carragher, Redknapp, Suey and Neville, I think. 3 of them had turned up, dealt with them. I was waiting for Neville, and a black Mercedes Vito pulled up, all blacked out. I spoke to the driver, the door opened, I expected Neville, and it was Thierry, and I was like, in my head I was like, you bastards. Everyone at work had obviously stitched me up knowing what a big Arsenal and Thierry fan I am. And I felt like a 10-year-old girl meeting Justin Bieber. He shook my hand and just looked in my eyes and said hello, and I was just like, I just made a noise that I've never heard out of me in my 30 plus years. What a pleasure. And he just sort of got out, put his arm around me, and we were talking, and I was gushing Arsenal. Oh, Thierry, you're the greatest thing I've ever seen. I love you so much. Arsenal are amazing. Just all the spiel. And he just sort of looked at me and smiled, and you're not the first, mate, and you won't be the last. And he knows that he's created so many memories for so many of us, and that will never change. So that was an incredible day. He's another one. The Carragher touching the leg thing. I was in the studio that day. That was hilarious. When every time I see that meme, I was sat about 5 foot away from Carragher that day, and it's just so funny. And a lot of people missed it last year. He did it again, and we were all sat there, and as soon as it came off air, it was like, Carragher, he's just fucking done it again. He's done it again. Can't believe it. After all that last time, he's gone and bloody done it again. And that was hilarious. And what a lot of people don't see is just the man who Thierry is. I mean, a lot of people, his opinions are bollocks on Sky. He has to be unbiased, guys. If you ask him anything about Arsenal, he says we or us. He's an Arsenal man. That'll never change. He bleeds Arsenal like the rest of us. But he has to try and be. He can't just say Arsenal are brilliant, Arsenal are brilliant, nothing wrong at Arsenal, Arsenal are brilliant. He can't have that opinion, guys. It's not what he's paid for. So you've got to rein it in a little bit. And what you'd ask him, if you asked him 2 questions on air and off air, you get 2 different answers. And that's how that line of work is. You can't just rant your own opinions. You've got to look at it from an unbiased point of view. So I hate it when people badmouth him, and it's just little things he does. I'll be sat in the studio and I'll say to him, does he want a brew, or I've got to take you here, Terry, or whatever, and he'll just turn around and look at me and go meow, and just little things that just made that working day that bit easier. And obviously if you're having a bit of banter with your absolute god, it's amazing. Another one of my favourite moments was last year, sat on the gantry watching a game with him, just me and him, and he just had his arm around me and we were sort of whispering to each other, talking football, talking Arsenal. And if anybody, a lot of you will know that the gantry at the Emirates is in the Arsenal stand. And I went to go and get us a drink each at half time, and some guy just as I was walking past just went, "You lucky cunt." And that was a sort of point for me where I realised I am incredibly lucky. A man that is my idol, I've got to know personally as a friend. And yeah, it's been an unreal journey just chatting football, chatting Arsenal with him, man. And it's something I'll always look back on fondly when I get old, mates, kids, grandkids, showing them this was the greatest player I've ever seen in the red and white of Arsenal. And I knew him, I was friends with this guy. He's just mind-blowing. And yeah, I've got nothing but positive things to say about him. People who've said bad-mouthed him that I've seen talking shit the last few days, and especially after yesterday. Oh, well, he could have come straight to Arsenal. He's a wanker. He doesn't love the club that much because he went for Sky and Belgium rather than coming to Arsenal. Look at it from a non-numpties point of view, right? Look at his playing career when he left us. What did he go and achieve? A fucking lot. Because he went and tested himself, tried different cultures, tried different experience, different tactics, different ways of playing. All those things made him a better player, which will now help him become a better coach. The same as what he's doing now. Could he have come back to Arsenal straight away? Yeah. Would it have benefited him? No. Would it have benefited us? No. Look at Baldy, prime example. What's he learnt over the last few years? Nothing. He's been allowed to implement nothing of his own. So for me, he's just stood still as a coach. What's Thierry been doing in the meantime? He's just finished 3rd as an assistant manager in a World Cup with Belgium, who I don't think that was expected of over the last couple of years. So he's already ahead of the game. He's 2 years in and he's been third in a World Cup. He's only going to keep improving. I had a text back and forth with him yesterday, just wishing him good luck and how devastated I was to lose him. And I hope we keep in contact, and I'm sure we will. If I don't do his head in too much asking him Arsenal stuff. But yeah, it's the same. When I first got a chance to talk to him, I said, "Thierry, when are you coming home, big man?" And he said, "When I'm capable of doing the club justice that we both love." And that still stays the case for me. He's like I say, it's the same with how he's going to coach. He's going to go different places, different cultures, different ways of playing the game. He's going to come back when he's the most well-rounded, best coach he believes he can be. And at staying at Arsenal, he wouldn't have achieved that. He'd only have been mugging himself off and mugging us off and mugging our wonderful club off. So I applaud him for that. He's brave. He knew he'd take some stick for it from naive Arsenal fans, and he's still taking stick from it for this day, of the ones that can't get over it. But I applaud him for what he's done, and when he does come back, owners allow him, which for me is the only sticking point in the future, 5-10 years down the line. Maybe he might replace Emery in 10 years, I don't know. But he will come back, and that is his overriding goal, is to be a legend as a manager at Arsenal as well as a player. So yeah, I know where he's going next. Nothing but excited for him. And Thierry, I love you, dog. And I just can't wait to keep watching how your career unfolds. And I can't wait to see you in that dugout at Arsenal in the, over the next 10 or 20 years. It's going to be incredible, the reception you'll get when you come back. And I think something most of us want to see. So that's it on the Thierry stuff. Well, it's not. The other thing that bugged me last year, let's say people bad-mouthing him about him not coming back to Arsenal and choosing money at Sky. It wasn't choosing money, it was just choosing which career path would allow him to develop best, and being at Sky in Belgium was best for him at the time. The next one with the whole Arsene Wenger's last game, he's a wanker, he wasn't there, it shows you that he doesn't love the club. No, it doesn't, it shows you nothing. I love the club, I wasn't there, I was sat at Man City with him. I had a contractual obligation just like he did that meant I couldn't get out of it. Maybe he could have done, but you can't just walk away from what your commitments are no matter what you feel like. And I'm telling you right now, the guy had to walk out of the studio in bits. He sees Wenger as his dad, and he was inconsolable at that match. And the big thing for me was he wasn't invited. Like a lot of ex-Arsenal players, he wasn't invited because it felt it'd take the attention away from Arsene. And when I spoke to Thierry about it at Man City, that was his opinion, is that today's about Arsene, not about me versus Arsene. And that was the big thing for me, was that he wasn't invited, and because he wasn't invited, he wasn't just going to pitch up uninvited and make the day less about Arsene. He loves that man, and he wanted that day to be all about Arsenal, and in the end, because he wasn't there, it was all about Arsene. So I can only applaud the guy, and like I say, I love you, Thierry, and I've just got nothing but love for you. You've enhanced my life massively, and it's been wonderful to talk football with one of the greatest and a world-class footballer, rather than just on Twitter and social media with people who think they know it but they've never spoke to anybody that's of any sort of position in football. So yeah, thank you, mate, for everything, and I'm just so sad that you've gone, and it's definitely changed my working life now, and maybe it's the time for me to move on as well. And I was looking for maybe doing something different because I've been doing this so long. I've been to World Cups finals, I've been to Champions League finals, but nothing will ever come close to working with Thierry and sitting and getting to know the man. So God bless you, sir. Arsenal directly related news. I had a few little conversations with colleagues yesterday. The Rambo situation. In my opinion, he's staying, but I was told, and I've told you guys a week ago, that he will either have signed or not by the Singapore tour, and that's how it stands. And Zonzi rumour, I was told yesterday that rumour is only based on if Rambo leaves, we'll replace him with Nzonzi, and we'll move Mickey into Rambo's position, and it leaves us with a better CDM. Then we'd have sort of him and Nzonzi and Torreira, Ozil and Mickey playing the creative role, and then Jacques, Nenny and Ainsley Maitland-Niles doing the midfield box-to-box part. So I'd be gutted if he left, but I don't think he's irreplaceable. Mickey's not much worse of a player. He's only a slight downgrade, and we'd be much stronger in CDM. So these pluses and minuses for that one. I'd be sad if he left, but he's not irreplaceable, and we'd just move on as we do. No one's bigger than the club. So that was an interesting one. welbz, guys know I can't stand him. I've been told he's going to be sold. As I mentioned, just using common sense the other day, he's not got back with England for the pre-season stuff, which is a big problem for him because he's not getting a chance to prove himself while others are. He's got a year left on his contract, and he will not be offered another one. So this is the only time now to sell him or keep him as a bit part player this year, and then let him walk for free next year. But yeah, he's one for me that's definitely going. I told you guys months ago the 6 in 2 out thing. The 2 out now is definitely looking like welbz and Ospina. Jack's left, but that was for free, so that wasn't part of that number. Jenko Campbell-Akpom will be leaving, from what I've been told. And it looks like we'll be loaning out Willock and one of Martinez or Macy, whoever's not part of his 3 goalkeepers, which is Leno, Cech and one more. So it's between those 2 who gets loaned out. I think it'll probably be Macy that gets loaned out, to be fair. Or maybe if he sees Cech as his definite number 2, then Martinez will go out loan first team somewhere, and Macy will just fill in as and when. So that's that one. Coleman, there's a little rumour that's come from nowhere. I don't know how much truth there is in it, but I could definitely see it happening. He's in the right price bracket, he's of the right age, he's someone who we can work with and turn into a better player. And in that price bracket, where there's him, Lozano, Pavon, he'd be my choice out of all of them. So yeah, that could have a bit of legs. Like I say with Nzonzi, he's not coming in unless Ramsey goes, from what I've been told. Do with that what you will. Sidibe is another one. That could definitely happen, because Monreal might leave. I mentioned this to you guys the other day, that he could go. He's happy to leave, and we're fairly happy to let him leave. if we can get replacement in. And what I like at the moment with us is we're not waiting for somebody to back us into a corner before we have to act. We're acting and looking at replacements before these guys have left, to sort of say to them, well look mate, if you're going, see you later, we're already looking at somebody to replace you, not a problem, mate, hurry up and make your mind up. So I really like that proactive approach at the moment, that we're not waiting to be backed into a corner, and we'll act before we're forced to, which leaves us in a position of strength rather than weakness. So I'm really happy with that at the moment. Gazidis, I asked a couple of questions about him yesterday and was told he's going absolutely nowhere. He wants to see through the project under the new manager and the new system, so that's one for me where that's a no-go. So that's it for me today, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the content. Keep liking, retweeting, liking on these and subscribing, and keep getting your questions into #GunnerTalk. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful day. Si signing out, and come on you Gooners.